All right. Friday, 0932, these ones, 0932, 25 seconds, the year 2024, 2025, 7th month, July 25th day. There's one more week left with the trading month. It could be a big mover. Monkey hammer. Let's see. Be able to get that on there clearly because, you know, the camera on the other side, it's much more clear. And that's the one on the back, on the phone back. Not the back of the phone back. Not the state of Oregon, Oregon State. Not the Department of Navy, Navy Department. Of means without the people. In the legalism books. Legalism, which is different from legal. Legalism is the unconscious child. Legal is the spiritual or the boy energy or the father energy. Legal. The stepfather energy. Everything in the legal realms is dealing with what's known as a adopted child, which is assumed jurisdiction through the hospitals with Doctor Who. And we got Dr. Boob down here too, physician. She says, physician? Call me physician. I prefer physician. Yeah. So Russell has to put the Hisnia belt on. His WWE Hulk Hogan trousers on now. World Wide Wrestling trunks, but they're a little bit. If the brother was to bring them up like that, now they'd be more sumo wrestler style. I'm a sumo wrestler. But unfortunately, Hulk Hogan, not unfortunately, well, wonderfully, Hulk Hogan transferred. Now he's up watching Russell. He can watch Russell 24 hours a day. Be up there in the spiritual realms. As a Russell guard. Touch my anointed fucker. Because that's the way, you know, things are until they reach the motherly realms, which is, you know, they don't beat the children, but, you know, everything's always elevating and getting more conscious. And, yeah. What could the wee be? Now I've traveled there so far, I've had it up me, jacked it off and had a call. Then after said and done, that rapid blood run, help me, hold me. Brown down it for certain. It be the final curtain. As long as the wind shall blow, I'll be squirting high and low. Squirt, 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 squirt. Some think that the Dio signs, where the fuck, hang loose, Hawaii, and all that shit. Some think that this is here to ward off evil. Yeah, that's one way to interpret it. But this is also the all-natural universal finger position, when a girl sticks the two fingers up the vagina to rub the G spot to the point of orgasm, and shit starts to squirt all over the place. Yeah. It's unfortunate that this stuff wasn't publicly taught to the children. Very unfortunate. But that's the reason Russell is here. He's the ultimate sex education physician. And he don't hold back the real information from the children. Children that grow up unconscious to the real universal energy, end up fucking self-sabotaging themselves, beating themselves up. And then entering into death. Well, it's just a story Russell shares. Remember, every story is there just for consideration. It doesn't mean that a story, just because a story is there, doesn't mean it has to be believed. Anyway, so Russell's been having the final curtain song. It's an Yngwie J. Malmsteen song. Hasn't heard that song in a long fucking time, and it's been playing over and over and over now. That he hit the Yngwie telegram thing and heard the song. He says, my brother's heard that song. And it's on the Fire and Ice album. So going over it, every once in a while it'll enter into the mind, and it's really laying in the bed this morning, it's going over, and it all came back to the memory. The melodies, not the chords, the melody. And so now that the melody is here, the reason for the video is Russell's going to pick the guitar up. In fact, here's a guitar right here, acoustic guitar. It doesn't have to plug the electric one in. Russell can go all out. The acoustic. There was a presidential coup. That's an acoustic guitar. Acoustic. So anyway, Hulk Hogan transitioned on. But he ain't dead. To some people that aren't connected with the spiritual realms, they think people die and they've lost them. Well, anyone that's into paraphernalia, paranormal paraphernalia. Russell does have money. This is going on now. Oh, it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here it is, the Eugene, Oregon, and Russell's got the money to go because he just sold a fucking Rockman XP100 amp for $2,800, minus the 6.7% eBay split share, and the shipping and handling, which came to $55.80. So 188, which 88 is President Trump's gematria number. 188 was 6.7% for the $2,800 plus 55.85. So minus $243.85. It came out to $2,556.15. So to double inspect that. Yep, $2,556.15. Brother spent $80 yesterday quickly. One was on $55 for the Cricket, which is an AT&T company. This is just a division with AT&T. And it's a service payment card. And it always stays the same. Brother just goes to the local market, gets the card, brings it home, types it in. It's like a credit card. Putting in a credit card, not a debit card. It's like a credit card. Russell's not into debtor shit, although he does have a debit card though at the local bank. But Russell's also a private maritime lawyer, so everything's credit with Russell. Although some things are fluggle voogle juggle. Russell's still growing more and more out of the matrix, and or less matrix control and all that shit. He ain't all the way. He's just out or optional with it, more so than probably everyone on the planet. As he's still, getting the equilibrium between the two, the spirit and the body, to keep this body living forever. That's the ultimate goal. It isn't just to strut around the town and rub it in the doctor's face, say, you ain't got no jurisdiction over me, you little fucker. That attitude is where the universal energy tends to send a lesson as the Joe Wilson reviews pop up. Hold on. And the cool thing is that Russell knows exactly who Russell is. Because Russell spent time with the universe revealed things with Russell, and Russell has awakened things that were dormant within Russell that agree. The two energies agree. Even in the modern interpretation to that old ancient book called the Bible. Oh, she's not there. Oh, there's another fire. Oh, no, this is the same fire. Oh, shit. So, anyway, well, it's not on the screen record. There's a Lane County fire update and whatnot. It's over in Oak Ridge, which is just a small town out in the woods. Surrounded nothing but woods around this little town out there. Russell almost ended up living there when he first got here. He was looking for houses to to buy, to purchase. So might as well put the fingertips on. Open the front door and start the day. Russell really needs to run some water over the eyes to get all the shit out of there. How dare she? She put it in. She came back and she did. I wonder if she put poo-poo. I wonder if put poo-poo. She got dirt on her feet. She squirt that dee. This is distilled water. So brother's gonna put this in the refrigerator. Might as well bring you into the kitchen. Brother can let it fucking get the kitchen door. There's the cat, and just put it up on top of the refrigerator up here to give the kitchen view. So brother just puts the glass gallon jars, a little funnel. Just fill the gallon jar up. It gets splashy. Put that in the fridge. Get the other plastic one. I like to put it in the glass as soon as possible because it gets cooler quicker. It seems like it does anyway. And there's still a little bit left in this one. But I can refill this. This is the drinking one, so just fill this with the rest of this, and then you can refill this one all the way. It's just something wee, and we let the wee know. You know, it's just a melody. It's just a melody. You know, and words are fun to play with. Rhyme the words and use all kinds of different, all these things that are labeled as socially unacceptable in society. They have to be stretched. They have to be stretched stretched with reality, and get all the limits off, and all the pedophile offended attachments to clear away from all that offense. Offense doesn't mean to offend someone. Offense also means to offend the little child inside, the self who offends the little child inside by beating it down, telling it can't say this, it can't say that, it can't interpret things this way, da-da-da. That's to limit the imagination, universal imagination to rise. That's a self-molestation, a self-rape. Yet most people in the world say, oh, if you physically touch a child, that's molestation. Oh. And they're never looking at the confession mirror and seeing the mirror reflection that's going on out here with all this physical blame, molestation, this labeled molestation. They're never having a self-confession that, oh my God, everything's going on out here around me is just a projection and a mirror reflection. Everything that's going on inside of fucking me. And until that Hollywood connection is dealt with, that's why bodies keep dying. Oh my God. I've got a inner self pedophile problem, and I'm my own worst fucking enemy. You know, but this type of talk out in the town has been shunned for centuries upon millions and millions of years. And that's the reason Mother Russell, Universal Russell, Mother is here. There's a little Universal Barbie down here too. She keeps it all. We're fasting right now, though. She's like a little cub. When she's hungry, she's like a little cub. Mommy, I need titty suckles. And she wants mommy to lay down on the floor so she can suck mama's titties. That's symbolic language. Symbolic language. Oh, brother Russell never washed the fucking face. No, Russell goes in here and he gets the towel. This is all the everyday chore stuff Russell does. He gets here and gets the dry towel, the wet. Oh yeah, this is the one that's dry. The dry one goes on this hook, and then the wet one from the tub or the shower goes on this one to dry. And Russell just grabs this one. There she is. And then he comes in here and turns the light on. There's the light switch over there. See? Russell learning more with the camera to spend more time when he's sharing stuff. Because the old habit, when you're filming stuff, it's easy just to go over stuff real fast. And there's not enough time to actually see that which is there, which wants to be revealed. So Russell heats the water up. It's cold right now. Wash the face. So, you know, Russell being in the heavy metal music realm, you know, one of the fathers transitioned on, which is Ozzy. And then a few days later here, Trump being in the political realms and worldwide wrestling realms, you know, one of the fathers just transitioned too. You know, and Trump and Russell have a connection. In fact, Russell included Donald J. Trump's name on the Master Key peace warrant, lawful affidavit. So, with the Just Playman channel, YouTube Russell, there's a meeting with the attorney where it all was mentioned. You know, and of course, those that had no clue couldn't see the writing on the wall. Couldn't see the writing on the wall, and the writing on the wall is now here to clearly see. The writing wall. He's writing the wall. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. He's writing the wall. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. That's the motion, natural motion that happens when a horse is ridden. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. Think the universe is actually very Fibonacci. The golden means pi. Patterns. The same patterns and as above, so below. small things and large things. Things that happen in nature are very similar to everything else happening in nature. There's patterns there. And representations, you know. The riding a horse is very patternistic representation, very universal for the thrusting that happens during the sexual union between a girl and a boy. Or in today's time, sometimes it's a girl with a girl and a guy with a boy with a boy. Which is a bit unnatural because the universe is naturally a pregnancy type situation. Although you watch the Hollywood movie Enemy Mime and study the mythological gods, it's possible that any living organism can morph into anything they want. That includes being both male and boy and girl. And one learns this when they study the plant kingdom. I think the plants are called androgynous, or they're both self-producing plants. In other words, the plant fucks itself. So, and studying the mythological gods, people realized that back a long time ago, for real, there were giants on the land, and they could morph into anything they want. Into a fish, into a bird, instantly, boom. So if you get two boys together, they could morph themselves instantly. One could morph to a girl, one could morph to a boy. And they could fuck each other and have a pregnancy. Because every living organism is both boy and girl. So all this stuff going around, you know, with the tranny movements and how it's labeled that it's bad and this and that, and there's no universal connection with the transition that's going on to reveal the true nature, universal nature of things. When one starts pointing fingers and wanting to beat shit up and beat thyself up, instead of seeing the mirror reflection that's going on, everything going on outside is actually mirror reflection, everything that's going on inside. And sometimes oneself is hidden from one's universal connection, that one is both energies, boy and girl, which is spirit or soul and spirit. And it's the soul that gets the brunt of the deal and gets beat up all the time. It's the brunt of the deal with all this self-sabotaging, where there's no acknowledgement of one's self-pedophile with oneself, self-molestation, not letting the child inside express itself. That's called beating the girl energy down, which is the body. And that's why bodies are always dying all the time. And they don't have to die when this knowledge is full conscious. And that's the path Russell's on, as a fully illuminated Mason Jason fucker, if one wants to use a title to recognize something, just to have, oh my God. Russell is fully fucking with it. You know, in the old ancient writing, it's known as the elixir, the alchemical transmutation, alchemy, to alchemize things. to alchemize something is to realize one is in deep blame, self-molestation, or anger, or rage, and then to realize that one's caught up into to that old bad habit, or an old habit, especially bad habit, stuck in the mud with it abusively. To realize that and start training and bring oneself out of it, and to bring in a new habit, which is kindness, more love, more kindness. But still, to keep in touch with that passion. It's just misdirected passion. It's not really misdirected. It's just the mistake route. But it doesn't have to stay mistake route. The passion can still be there. Because passion is often mistaken for rage. And some have the capacity to know and tell the difference with the self and with others. Otherwise, if there's no capacity to distinguish and have discernment, it's known as discernment, then one starts looking at someone, they start blaming them, want to throw them in prison. They say, oh, that fucker's having a fucking rage tantrum. And it might not be, it might just be passion. Throw someone in fucking prison, or beat them up, want to hit them, or trap them, or get them back, stab them in the back, shoot them with a gun, all the stuff that happens because of, unconscious, being unconscious. Anyway, so what would the nickel be when we dick the dog so slow? With jacket faithfully till we whack it and we know. And after all that's done, we can on. Tell me, I know about that. There it is. And invitation, and it be the final curtain. That's what it sounds like. That could be the E key. And then C sharp would be the 6 for that song, which is very popular heavy metal rock and roll mode. To have the verse coming, chiming with the 6, or the chorus. So there it is for now. The song could be on the original master recording. It could be in a different key, but that's just the key that's coming up for now. Russell doesn't have any tapes or albums anymore. He just has a couple here and there, but if he needs to know a song, he just go on YouTube. There it is. Every fucking song anyone want to fucking listen to. Even from way back in the old fucking 1200s, 1100s, the very first song ever written. It's on fucking YouTube. Can you imagine fucking, if Russell had every fucking recording in the house, he'd have to have a fucking castle. But more than likely it's all in the Vatican catacombs anyway. I'm starting a private club, said Joe Wilson. That right there it can be considered, there was a pop-up notice from Joe Wilson, the AI bot trader, 17-year veteran, a notice popped up and it said, "I'm starting a private club." And when stuff like that comes up, you know, that can be like a suggestion. To suggest something to Russell, as though, "Hey, Russell, start a private club." Start a private club. And Russell, you know, with all the information Russell knows, Russell's mission is to bring everything in the private and bring it out in the open. Russell is the bridge transitioner. So, you know, Russell is just being the transition with private and public. But yet there are still some in the AI world or even just the legalism realms, because Russell comes from law, is with law, although he can function in legal and legalism realms. But usually living organisms that are in the legalism and legal realms, it's usually all they know is legal and legalism. And so the legal and legalism realms are trained and taught that the private club is the only place to bring forth very sensitive information. That's what they're taught. So when that pop-up from Joe Wilson popped up, you know, it was just the legalism or legal bully's way of putting some type of suggestion onto Russell. There was a rattle. There's a rattle. As Russell says these are all universal type signs and whatnot. And distractions from the AI. And the simulation and the hologram all together. Now this one says stories backed by real results. The Joe Wilson pop-up. But anyway. So now, the song's obviously with the key of E, you know, play the melody. Now remember, Brother has never learned this song. The brother has only learned some of the first two albums, songs of the first two albums, Yngwie, and probably, you know, maybe a couple songs here and there afterwards on some of the albums, but brother, you know, when Russell was in the formative years, he was really into learning everyone's songs, but Momstein didn't come along until after Russell was already well established. He was already well established, you know. Ozzy was before, it was after Randy Rhoads transitioned on. And then all of a sudden Momstein came into the fucking, he was like the replacement for Randy Rhoads. Although Edward Van Halen, you know, Edward Van Halen had his realm, or the realm that he liked to musician with. And as far as Russell's concerned, I mean, both were quite equal to Russell. You know, although Russell didn't slobber over anybody, he just liked the sound of the guitar and the way that the notes were put together. That was all Russell was into. He wasn't like, oh my God, Van Halen's my hero, Randy Rhoads is my hero. Although it seemed there was a point where Russell, you know, I think Mother asked Russell, "Who's your favorite guitarist?" And Russell said Randy Rhoads. And then at some point, Russell kind of got into Jimmy Page, but that didn't last long. Then by then, fucking Russell turned Christian, and all that music got thrown away, and now it was Stryper and fucking Res Band. Stryper. But Russell does remember, you know, really getting in, because Randy Rhoads' music was easier to learn than Van Halen. Now, probably musically, musicianshiply, and originality, probably Van Halen was fucking much more proficient, variety-wise, with the music. And so, but that was Van Halen's style, and it's not, you know, but it was harder to learn. Some of the stuff was harder to learn. Some of the stuff Van Halen does is harder to learn. It was easy with fucking Randy Rhoads. He was, you know, a lot is based on scales. Very sclerotic. Very sclerotic. One note after another. Van Halen was more arpeggiatic, and when Yngwie came along, he was both, because Russell could figure out some of the Yngwie stuff, but the arpeggio stuff, he had never even fucking heard of arpeggios. Didn't even know what a fucking arpeggio was for a long time, till he was fucking 22 years old. No, 20, around 20 years old in the military, and that happened on a ship one time. You got a magazine, there was a fucking Tony McAlpine in there with an arpeggio lesson. Although, brother was kind of starting to piece shit together. He was starting to piece shit together from hearing Tony, I think it probably was Tony McAlpine that fucking got Russell to start earing shit, that sound, that arpeggio sound. And then sitting down with it and figuring it out. And then when he saw the guitar lesson, he's like, there it is. There's the sound it's written down. And then he actually started talking about these are arpeggios, and then at that point Russell was on to something new with fucking music. Get all the dust off this fucking electronic device here. The little Hot Wheel cars. The little Hot Wheel cars, they get dusty. Russell has 2 Hot Wheel cars. This is a 1970 Camaro. And Russell had the SS spoiler. The spoiler on this one is not SS, it's just a tiny one. And Russell took this car apart and put special wheels on it. Took the wheels out of another Hot Wheel and put it into this one. So the whole body comes apart. Easily comes apart, and then put it back in there. Just undo the fucking plastic and the metal there, because this is a plastic bottom one. Very easy to, and he put fucking custom wheels on it from another Hot Wheel. So there's that one. That was the second car Russell had, but it's actually the first car that Russell got. This car, 73 Maverick, was a car that Dad got for Russell as his first car. Mom and Dad got Russell a car, but it wasn't a V8 grabber. This is a V8 grabber. It's got the spoiler on it in the front. Resembles a V8. It's got the fucking the V8 fucking nostrils on the hood. Russell just had a 6-cylinder. These are the 2 cars Russell had when he was a kid. growing up before he joined the military. First car, 73 Maverick, and then Russell sold that Maverick and then got a 70 Camaro. So anyway, the melody to the song. And then there's, what could the ding dong be? Do you know good luck so I want my MTV. Do you look at it so slow? After all these things, I got in your tears, burning. Now that's a different key right there. So the song might change keys somewhere in it. That's this key. That'd be A6, which is the C key. Whereas the original fucking Russell started playing, it was an E key. Which, oh yeah, that's a bit different. It's not the same thing as playing, you know, the two keys that are similar at the 6-7-1 on the first string. 6-7-1 hop. And then the second string is always the bop pattern, the 3-4-5. But the similar key in there is going to be the convert the 3-4-5 to the 6-7-1, which is the famous Yngwie roll all the way down. But he likes to go down to the fucking sharp 5 with it, with but this key was going to be the, you know, it's the E key, as long as the bop pattern is used with the second string, and the hop pattern, three notes per string, is used on the first string. 6-7-1. 1-7-6. 5-4-3. And then this particular box, which has a diminished 3 spacing in it, which is the Dio fingers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 frets. Same thing on the second string. 1, 2, 3, 4 frets. 2, 3, 4 frets. 1, 2, 3, 4 frets. But it can be played. This is going to be the E key with 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. But this same box can be 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, which is the hop pattern, and the 4, 3, 2, 1 is the key note, and that's the 12th note with the 12th fret with the second string, which is the B note, and that's the B key. So the E and the B are very similar in key, just one note difference. The difference being it's either that note or that note. If it's this note, it's a 3, 4, finger position. If it's this note, it's a 6, 7, 1 finger position. The difference being these two notes right here. That's bringing up a song idea all of a sudden now. So it's the A and the A sharp note. And that would be a 4 3 4 3 4 3 4 3 4 3 4 3. Then roll up to the. If this is 4 3, then this is the A is 3. A is the third note with the F key. That's the key right there. So it rolls up to a 1 7 7 1 7 1 7 from a 3. So this would be Yngwie. He'd be like, you just fall on the scale all the way up, 3 notes per string. It's the 3 bop, 3 4 5. It's also known as the 3 box. The 3 4 5, the 3 bop. Remember, there's always children around, and it's very important to dig deep with that motherly instinct and realize there's always children around, and children are like sponges, and they really like to absorb information. But it's hard for a child to absorb information if it's quickly glossed over. And it's hard to go into the motherly energy, to transition into the motherly energy, and to slow down for the child. It's easy to be the father and just that's the way the father is, man. He's on the battlefield. He says, son, you better learn quick here. The son's like, I gotta figure that shit out. But it's hard for a father to be that way, because fathers, for the most part, are trained to be on a battlefield, and it's constant action all the time. They don't even. There's just no sense to slowing down, none the fuck whatsoever. But when a father gets in touch with the motherly energy that's there, and trains with that, and starts realizing, oh shit, there's cubs around. And what the fuck do I need to fucking continue on with this fucking, as though life has to be a fucking battle. But consciousness has to rise first to realize that. Oh my God. Oh, fuck. I haven't been conscious to the fact that unconsciously, the thing that's driving force is that old habit that's subconsciously on a battlefield still. It's still at war. And there ain't no time to slow down for shit in war. It's constantly on the alert all the time, constantly bugging. That's the motherly energy comes in. Be conscious with the motherly energy. So to slow down, realizing, there's always children around, and there's the little child inside too. That's being just brushed aside and swept and just lost with all the hurry stuff. That's like stamping out the inner child. That's the self-pedophile stuff that goes on when one starts realizing, oh shit, and continuing on with all this fast stuff all the time. Is the greatest hindrance to entering in, or to bringing living with that, with ever. And that's why the bodies keep fucking dying off. So that's the 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, and then the hop pattern, 6, 7, 1, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the 4th string, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, slot pattern, 5, 6, 7, 1, 1, 2, 3 on the 2nd string. That's the 1 slot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the 1st string. That's the 4 slot. 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 1. So it seems to go something like this. Because that was the difference between these two notes for the B and the E key. A sharp, A sharp, A. A sharp 4, A3. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Coming up with a new song. Dun, 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 dun. Getting it down. But anyway, it's been an hour video, and so there's a little more with the c'est la vie. that's the word that wants to come, c'est la vie. It's the MR, the RM. Ring metal. They're on there too. They are on there to the point where it's a bit too tight, but you know, they get loosened up after some time. Need a 12.5. The 12 is too big for the, no, these are actually just right. The 12.5 is going to be too big for the middle finger. The 11 is much too tight for the fingertip, but the 11.5 is just right. But it is still too tight though, but not as tight. But these are postal fingertips right here. You can get a batch of 12 for like a couple dollars. Might be $10. They're on eBay. These are for postal workers that deal with a lot of paper envelopes instead of licking their fucking fingers all the time or whatever the fuck. Russell came across these on eBay, and he spent a lot of time looking for fucking fingertips, and these are the ones that fucking are 11.5 for the ring finger, size 12 for the middle finger. with Russell. So, some might say, Russell, don't show this on eBay. Don't show this company on eBay because now the enemy is going to take down the company. Some say. Until the day, Russell gets some money and he can actually, get some professional Tony Iommi fingertips. I'm sure those things probably cost $1,000 each. But, anyway, until later.